My HOA Karen made one tiny mistake when she decided to destroy my life over a parking spot. She picked a fight with someone who investigates criminals for a living. So there I was at 6 a.m., steam rising from my coffee mug on my patrol car hood, getting ready for another day, keeping our county safe. The morning air carried that crisp scent of fresh dew on asphalt, and I could hear sprinklers hitting concrete driveways up and down the street. Then this woman storms across the street, designer clogs crunching on gravel, screaming about my illegal parking violation. "That eyesore doesn't belong in a family neighborhood," she shrieked, pointing at my county sheriff's vehicle like it was toxic waste. Little did Brenda Worthington know she just called the cops on the cops. What would you do if your HOA tried to tow your work vehicle from your own property? Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I bet you have HOA horror stories that'll make this look tame. My name is Marcus Hendricks, and 6 months ago, I was just another deputy sheriff trying to rebuild my life after losing my wife to cancer. The medical bills had eaten through our savings like a wood chipper. So when I got promoted to county sheriff, I had to trade our dream house for something that wouldn't bankrupt me. Enter Willowbrook Estates, 47 identical beige boxes where every lawn smells like chemical fertilizer and dreams go to die. The HOA brochure promised community standards and property value protection. What they forgot to mention was their resident psychopath who treated those rules like the Ten Commandments. Meet Brenda Worthington. Think soccer mom meets prison warden with a clipboard where her soul should be. This woman ironed her jeans and color-coordinated her garden tools. She'd moved here after a messy divorce, bitter about what she called her lifestyle downgrade from some McMansion suburb. Her official title was compliance coordinator, which basically meant she got paid to terrorize neighbors into submission. The woman could spot a grass blade growing half an inch too tall from 3 houses away. For 6 months, I'd been parking my patrol car in my driveway like any normal person parks their work vehicle. It's standard protocol, community visibility, rapid response, all that good stuff. Crime had dropped 15% since I moved in. Most neighbors loved having a sheriff around, but Brenda looked at my patrol car like it was a meth lab on wheels. That first morning, I figured she just didn't understand. So I explained politely about security protocols, community safety benefits, even showed her the county policy requiring take-home vehicles. "I don't care about your little policies," she replied, voice dripping with enough fake sweetness to poison a diabetic. "This is a family neighborhood with property values to maintain. That commercial eyesore violates HOA Covenant Section 4.2.1. She said commercial eyesore like I was parking a sewage truck in a playground. "Ma'am, this actually helps property values," I tried reasoning. "Insurance discounts, crime deterrent." "Are you threatening me?" she interrupted, whipping out her phone like she was documenting war crimes. Because that sounds like intimidation from someone who thinks his little badge makes him special. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about parking. This was about power. Brenda was a small-time dictator who needed peasants to rule, and the new guy looked like easy prey. What she didn't realize was that I'd spent 15 years studying bullies, and they all follow the same playbook. They test boundaries, escalate systematically, and always pick targets they think won't fight back. My twin daughters, Emma and Sophie, watch from the window with worried 12-year-old faces. "Is that mean lady going to make us move again, Daddy?" Sophie asked that night. "No, sweetheart," I said, tucking her in. "Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements, but we work them out." Famous last words. 3 days later, I found the certified letter in my mailbox. Formal complaint, 72-hour deadline, copied to my department chief. Brenda had just declared war on the wrong sheriff. But here's what made me smile as I read that threatening letter. I'd just been promoted to a position with access to public records, financial databases, and investigative resources that most people can only dream of. And something about Brenda Worthington's aggressive tactics was setting off every alarm bell in my cop brain. The certified letter arrived with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. According to Brenda's masterpiece, I was violating HOA Covenant Section 4.2.1 regarding commercial vehicle restrictions. 72 hours to remedy this violation or face escalating enforcement action. The beautiful part? She'd copied my department chief, probably hoping to get me fired. Big mistake, Brenda. I spent lunch break doing what sheriffs do. Research. Turns out I'd never read the full HOA documents when I bought the house. But buried in Appendix C, I found it. Emergency Services Vehicle Exemption, clear as daylight. My response letter was poetry, professional, courteous, and legally bulletproof. I cited county ordinances, referenced state statutes protecting first responders, and politely suggested Miss Worthington familiarize herself with complete documentation before playing lawyer again. Thought that would end it. Wrong. Within 48 hours, Brenda launched suburban warfare, going door to door like Paul Revere warning about the British invasion. Her pitch was masterful. Property values dropping, safety concerns about weapons in cars, the classic think of the children manipulation. By Friday, 8 signatures on her petition. 8 out of 47 households. But she presented it like unanimous neighborhood revolt. Here's where my cop brain kicked in. While Brenda played politics, I investigated. Quick records check revealed this wasn't her first victim. Past year alone, Maria Santos cited for her landscaper truck, Harold Klein threatened over his RV, Jennifer Reyes harassed about her 15-year-old Honda. Pattern recognition, beautiful thing. This wasn't about vehicles. This was about power, control, and something that smelled fishier than week-old salmon. The breakthrough came during coffee with Jennifer Reyes, the nurse who'd invited me over after witnessing Brenda's petition circus. Thank God someone's finally standing up to her, Jennifer said. She cited me last month for my kids' chalk art on the sidewalk. Then came the stories. Every target had something in common. Different, lower income, or unable to fight back. That night, sipping bourbon on my back porch while the girls did homework, I pulled county property records on my laptop. Something about Worthington and Associates Property Management had been nagging me since day one. 15 years of investigations taught me that when someone's this aggressive about enforcement, money's usually involved. What I found made me actually laugh out loud. Brenda's maiden name, Worthington. The property management company handling our HOA enforcement, Worthington and Associates. Incorporated 3 years ago with one owner. Our dear compliance coordinator was literally billing the neighborhood for harassing her own neighbors. Every violation letter, every compliance monitoring fee, every minute spent measuring grass height, she was getting paid for all of it. The woman had turned being a professional bully into an actual business model. I closed my laptop and smiled at the stars. Tomorrow I'd start building a case that would make Brenda Worthington wish she'd never heard of parking enforcement. Because while she'd been playing neighborhood dictator, she'd forgotten one crucial detail. Sheriffs don't just enforce laws. We investigate the people who break them. Brenda's next move proved she had the strategic thinking of a kamikaze pilot. Wednesday morning, city code enforcement shows up at my driveway. Someone had filed a complaint claiming I was running an unlicensed security business. 20 minutes later, the inspector left with no violation found, but not before every neighbor heading to work got a front row seat to the circus. Brenda had timed it perfectly for maximum embarrassment during morning rush hour. That afternoon, my chief summoned me to his office. County Commissioner Webb had received another complaint about my abuse of power and intimidation of concerned citizens. Marcus, we both know this is bullshit, Chief Morrison said. But Webb's got election year nerves. She wants this resolved diplomatically. Chief, I'm literally following department protocol. I know, but maybe consider parking at the station. Drive your personal car home until this circus ends. That's when Brenda's genius became clear. She wasn't trying to win legally. She was weaponizing bureaucracy to force surrender. Unfortunately for Brenda, she just made this personal. That evening, Jennifer Reyes appeared at my door, carrying a casserole and wearing an expression that could cut glass. Emergency neighborhood meeting. My kitchen, 8 p.m. time to stop pretending this is normal. 7 neighbors showed up. The Kowalskis, Jennifer, the Pattersons, Maria Santos, even Dr. Kim, who usually avoided human contact. She's systematically destroying all of us, Maria said. Last week she measured my fence with an actual ruler. 2 inches too tall, apparently. The stories flowed. Brenda had weaponized every HOA rule imaginable. Each violation came with helpful suggestions about preferred contractors who could fix the problems. My cop brain started connecting dots. Wait, she's recommending specific contractors for every violation? Gets better, Dr. Kim said quietly. I researched the landscaping company she recommended for my overgrown bushes. Worthington Landscape Solutions. Same owner as our property management company. The room went dead silent. Brenda wasn't just getting paid to find problems. She was getting paid to solve them too. Create the violation, recommend the solution, collect fees on both ends. Here's what happens next. I said, feeling that electric tingle when a case cracks wide open. Everyone documents everything. Every violation notice, every contractor recommendation, every interaction. We're building a federal case here. Friday morning brought Brenda's nuclear option. Emergency HOA board meeting notice appeared in every mailbox. The timing was surgical precision. Tuesday at 2 p.m. when normal people work for a living. Unfortunately for Brenda, she'd forgotten that sheriffs don't punch time clocks. It was 11 p.m. Thursday when I stumbled across the document that changed everything. Willowbrook Development Corporation bankruptcy filing, March 2019. Buried in page 47 of legal gibberish was the clause that made my cop brain explode. Automatic HOA transfer provision. When developers go bankrupt, legal control transfers to homeowners within 90 days. Mandatory notification, formal elections, the whole democratic process. Except none of that ever happened. Worthington and Associates had simply continued operating. No transfer notifications, no homeowner elections, no legal authority whatsoever. For over 2 years, every violation notice, every fine, every threatening letter had been issued by a private company with less legal standing than a food truck. We'd been paying protection money to suburban gangsters. I pulled up the financial records with fresh eyes. $127,000 stolen from 47 families over 2 years. Management fees, violation fines, special assessments, every penny collected illegally. This wasn't neighborhood harassment anymore. This was systematic financial crime. My phone buzzed. Text from Jennifer. Emergency. Brenda called meeting for tomorrow. She's planning something nuclear. Perfect timing, Brenda. While she plotted her next harassment campaign, she had no idea I was about to drop the legal equivalent of a nuclear bomb on her entire operation. I spent the next hour building the evidence package. That night I made the call. State Attorney General Fraud Division. This is Sheriff Marcus Hendricks reporting a multi-year organized crime scheme. Friday morning found me in Jennifer Reyes's dining room, which looked like mission control for Operation Destroy Brenda. Documents covered every surface. 3 laptops hummed, and the smell of Jennifer's rocket fuel coffee mixed with fresh printer ink and the sweet scent of impending justice. Our war counsel was perfect. Rebecca Runn, an attorney who made corporate criminals wake up screaming for legal annihilation. The Kowalskis for historical dirt digging. Maria Santos for community organizing. And Dr. Kim because his forensic accounting skills could make numbers sing opera confessions. For 2 years this woman has been running a criminal enterprise while pretending to enforce HOA rules, Rebecca said, adjusting her glasses. Money trail is beautiful. Dr. Kim looked up from his laptop. Worthington and Associates collected $127,000 in fraudulent management fees, plus $43,000 in fake violation fines. She's been paying herself consulting fees for compliance monitoring that exists nowhere in any legitimate legal structure. What about her contractor scam? Maria asked. Worthington Landscape Solutions, Worthington Home Repairs, Worthington Seasonal Decorating, I read. Same owner, same address, same criminal mastermind. She's been manufacturing violations too. Funnel work to herself. Rebecca actually laughed. RICO violations, mail fraud, wire fraud, organized criminal enterprise. Federal vacation time in orange jumpsuits. Annual HOA meeting is Tuesday, Jennifer announced. She has to present financial reports under her own fake bylaws. Perfect, I grinned. We let her present fraudulent financials to the entire community with state investigators recording every lie. Monday morning brought Brenda's victory lap. Her Facebook post appeared at exactly 7 a.m. Finally, after months of battling entitled government employees who think badges make them special, justice prevails. Sheriff forced to comply with community standards. By noon, 6 more violation notices had appeared throughout the neighborhood. The Pattersons got cited for excessive holiday lighting. Maria Santos received a formal complaint about her mailbox numbers being incorrect font. The woman was drunk on power and completely oblivious to the federal noose tightening around her neck. Tuesday brought the sabotage attempt. I discovered the damage at 6 a.m. My patrol car's paint keyed in long angry scratches. 2 tires slashed. The radio antenna bent at an unnatural angle. Mrs. Henderson next door had caught the whole thing on her security camera. 17-year-old Bradley Peton, son of our esteemed board member, Skulking around my driveway at 2 a.m. Little bastard had even left a clear face shot when he looked directly at the camera. By 10 a.m., Bradley was in juvenile detention facing charges for vandalism of government property. Wednesday brought the political pressure campaign. Chief Morrison called me into his office. The county commissioners had received multiple complaints about my ongoing harassment of concerned citizens. Sir, I'm literally following department protocol while being systematically harassed by someone running a criminal enterprise. That afternoon brought Brenda's media blitz. Channel 7 News interview scheduled during prime dinner hour viewing. This sheriff thinks his badge makes him above community rules, she told the reporter. He's intimidating families, threatening honest citizens, and using his position to avoid accountability. But while Brenda basked in her 15 minutes of fame, she had no idea that state investigators were currently obtaining warrants for her financial records, business communications, and every document related to Worthington and Associates. Thursday morning brought Brenda's final play. Emergency Special Assessment Notice. Certified letters demanding $2,000 per household within 48 hours. The stated purpose: Legal Defense Fund for Community Protection Against Government Harassment. Translation: Brenda wanted every family to bankroll her war against me. By 10 a.m., my phone was ringing like a fire alarm. Elderly Mrs. Patterson, voice shaking with terror. Sheriff, I can't afford $2,000. Will they really take my house? The cruelest part? Brenda's assessment was specifically designed to target the most vulnerable families in our community. That evening I made the call that would end Brenda's criminal career permanently. FBI White-Collar Crime Unit. Agent Thompson speaking. Agent Thompson, this is Sheriff Marcus Hendricks. I need to report an organized racketeering enterprise operating under the guise of Homeowners Association governance. We're looking at mail fraud, wire fraud, extortion, and possible civil rights violations affecting 47 families. How much money are we talking about, Sheriff? Approximately $300,000 in fraudulent collections over 2 years, plus current extortion attempts totaling nearly $100,000 more. We're very interested. Can you have evidence packages ready for review Monday morning? By the time I hung up, Brenda Worthington had officially graduated from neighborhood nuisance to federal criminal target. Tuesday arrived with electric tension. Willowbrook Elementary's auditorium had never seen anything like it. 89 people crammed into a space designed for school plays. Every folding chair was occupied with latecomers standing along walls like spectators at a prize fight. Brenda took the stage at exactly 7 p.m. wearing a navy blazer that screamed trustworthy authority figure. Thank you all for coming during these challenging times. Tonight we protect our community from those who think badges make them above the law. The presentation was pure propaganda artistry. PowerPoint slides showing fabricated budget, shortfalls, manipulated property value statistics, and photographs of my patrol car shot from angles that made it look like military occupation equipment. $45,000 needed immediately, she announced. $1,000 per household to protect our families from systematic intimidation. That's when I stood up from the back row. The silence was so complete you could hear the building's ventilation system breathing. Ma'am, I'd like to address the meeting, I said, my voice carrying calm authority. As both a homeowner and the county sheriff. Brenda's smile flickered like a dying light bulb. Sheriff Hendricks, this is an official HOA meeting for residents in good standing. Actually, I interrupted, walking slowly down the center aisle while pulling out a manila folder. I think we need to discuss your authority to collect any fees whatsoever. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, I've discovered something that affects every family here. According to bankruptcy court documents filed in March 2019, this HOA has no legal authority to operate. The murmur rose to a roar. Brenda's face went whiter than fresh paint. The original developer went bankrupt without properly transferring HOA control to homeowners. For over 2 years, you've been paying fees to a private company with no more legal standing than a lemonade stand. That's completely false, Brenda stammered. Those are technicalities. From the back of the room, a new voice called out. State investigators. We'd like everyone to remain seated. 2 men in dark suits had appeared at the rear entrance, badges visible. The crowd turned, and the energy shifted from community meeting to crime scene. Brenda Worthington, the lead investigator, announced. You're under arrest for organized fraud, mail fraud, wire fraud, and racketeering. The sound that followed was pure suburban shock. Brenda stood frozen at the podium, her briefcase trembling in hands that had signed dozens of fraudulent violation notices. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The perp walk was poetry in motion. Brenda, still wearing her trustworthy navy blazer, escorted through rows of neighbors she'd terrorized for months. "This is harassment," she screamed as the handcuffs clicked into place. "Government conspiracy. The beautiful irony?" She was transported in my sheriff's department vehicle, the same commercial eyesore she'd spent months trying to banish from the neighborhood. As the patrol car disappeared into the night carrying Brenda toward federal booking, I turned to face my neighbors. "Folks, sometimes the system works exactly as designed. Every family here is entitled to full restitution of all fees paid to this fraudulent operation." The applause started slowly, then built like approaching thunder. This was never about parking. This was about a criminal who thought she could hide behind a clipboard and terrorize honest families. Now let's rebuild this community the right way. 6 months later, Brenda Worthington was trading her designer clogs for orange prison slippers, serving 18 months federal time plus 5 years probation. Her plea deal came after prosecutors showed her attorney 3 filing cabinets of evidence. The financial recovery was spectacular. $425,000 returned to our community with interest and punitive damages. Every fraudulent fee, every fake fine refunded with enough extra money to make our neighborhood richer than when this nightmare started. Worthington and Associates dissolved, taking 12 other fraudulent HOA operations across 3 counties with it. The real victory was watching our neighborhood transform from suburban prison camp into actual community. Our new HOA election drew 45 of 47 eligible voters. Jennifer Reyes became our first legitimate president. The Kowalskis revolutionized landscaping oversight, turning board meetings from trial proceedings into neighborhood coffee klatches. Most satisfying sight in America? My patrol car sitting proudly in my driveway, now recognized as the neighborhood's crown jewel. Crime dropped to 0. Property values soared thanks to positive media coverage. The Willowbrook Community Safety Scholarship became our legacy project, funded with recovered fraud money, awarding $5,000 annually to students pursuing criminal justice careers. 12 months post-Brenda, we hosted inaugural Willowbrook Unity Day, a block party that drew visitors from 6 surrounding subdivisions. The smell of barbecue mixed with children's laughter while adults marveled at legitimate community governance that actually served residents. My daughters, now 13 and brilliantly cynical, had learned lessons about justice that Harvard couldn't teach. Emma wanted to become a federal prosecutor to catch more suburban criminals, while Sophie planned on being sheriff like Daddy, but with better handcuffs. Every morning, drinking coffee while my legally parked patrol car gleamed in the sunrise, I watched neighbors who helped instead of harassed each other. Brenda had accidentally forged the strongest community bonds in subdivision history by giving us common enemy to defeat and shared victory to celebrate. The moral is beautifully simple. When good people unite, bullies get crushed. When communities demand accountability, criminals get federal prison sentences. When law enforcement serves justice instead of ego, everyone wins except sociopaths who deserve to lose. 2 years later, I still smile every morning seeing my patrol car legally parked where it belongs, knowing that sometimes the system works exactly as designed when good people refuse to be intimidated by clipboard-wielding terrorists. Because karma doesn't just have a badge. She has handcuffs, federal prosecutors, and really good aim. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment sharing your worst HOA horror story. Where are you watching from, and how did you fight back against neighborhood tyranny? Smash that subscribe button for more justice stories here on HOA Stories, because we're building an army of people who refuse to let suburban dictators win. Remember, the best defense against HOA terrorism is community solidarity and someone who knows how to investigate financial crimes properly. Thank you for tuning in to HOA Stories, where neighbors stand up against HOA Karens and karma comes a-knocking. If you like this story, hit that like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more HOA tales and real-life neighborhood drama each week.